Good Sunday morning, afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the College Huddle. Do us a big favor if you don't mind and smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel here at the College Huddle. We would really appreciate your subscription as we continue to try and grow our community here at the College Huddle. We have 85 podcasts who are a part of our community from coast to coast. Big schools, little schools, and all the schools in between, full of content creators and podcasters and fans just like you who love their schools. This video this afternoon is going to be about Notre Dame. Notre Dame is going to be about this video, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let us know what you think about what we think down in the comment section below. The more likes and shares and comments and subscriptions we get, the better this video will do and the quicker we can grow this community. So if you are a Notre Dame fan, maybe you're a Texas A&M fan, maybe you're a Notre Dame hater, I don't know. But last night's game was thrilling. It was must-see TV. 41-40. Notre Dame falls to Texas A&M at home to open their home schedule there in South Bend, Indiana. And I got to tell you, this game was eerily reminiscent of Ohio State beating Notre Dame back in 2023 and then USC beating Notre Dame in the infamous Bush Push game. Notre Dame continues to find ways to stub their toe, despite the fact they went last year 11-1 after losing at home to Northern Illinois. They ended up going on a run, winning 10 in a row to get to the college football playoff, and then beat Indiana at home and hosting their first ever playoff game at home. They then go on the road and beat Georgia, and then they beat Penn State to get all the way to the national championship game before falling to Ohio State once again. And here they had Texas A&M come into their house 2 weeks after they lost by only 3 points in Hard Rock to Miami, rival Miami, to start the season. And it wasn't necessarily panic mode by the Notre Dame faithful. However, they knew if they lost 2 in a row to start the year in the 2 biggest games they had, they would have a massive uphill battle to get back to the college football playoff. And when it was all said and done, and they had a 6-point lead that they were clinging on to at the end of the game, with time running out on a 4th down, you couldn't help but kind of feel like it wasn't going to end good for the men of South Bend. The luck of the Irish definitely has ran out in Indiana. The Aggies go into South Bend and they get the job done. Now, there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of little things you can pick apart. But that's not what this video is about. There's been hundreds of videos already made by Indiana content creators and college football pundits from coast to coast about this particular game. That's not what this is about. And you can go find those. And by the way, we highly recommend Always Irish and the Gyrish Talk podcast. They are affiliates of the College Huddle. So go on over to thecollegehuddle.com, go over to the independent section, scroll down to Notre Dame. There you'll find their links and their College Huddle pages. And we highly recommend you go and listen to what they have to say. But this is about where Notre Dame goes from here. Their backs are against the wall big time. They have a giant, massive hill to climb if they are to get back to the college football playoff. There are 2 things that are fighting against them right now. Number one, they do not currently, now this could change, but currently they do not have a top 25 team remaining on their schedule. They've got a lot of good teams, and we'll go over those in a second, but they currently do not have a top 25 team on their schedule left. And number two, they aren't in a conference to where they can go out there, win said conference, and kind of backdoor their way into this college football playoff. They can't do that. They have fiercely defended their independence, and rightfully so. They have every right to do so. But when you have things happen like what happened last night and what's happened at the beginning of the season, you stub your toe, you put yourself in a bind to where now, because of your independence, you might be on the outside looking in. Who was the winners and losers from last night's game? Well, obviously the losers Notre Dame, but the big winner here is the SEC. If the SEC was going to get 4 teams into this playoff and maybe even a fifth, they needed a big win like this that could knock a team out who a lot of people thought were going to automatically get into the college football playoff because of past experience, preseason ranking, how good they were expected to be, etc. And now that Notre Dame might be on the outside looking in, big winner SEC here. But what about the Irish? What's it going to take for them to get into the college football playoff? Is the fat lady singing? No, she's not. She might be warming up. She might be right on the in the gorilla area, getting ready to stage the gorilla stage, getting ready to jump on the stage and perform. But she's not out there yet. And Notre Dame has been in this situation before. Think last season when they lost at home to Northern Illinois. Because of who they lost to, Notre Dame had to go on a 10-game winning streak to get to the college football playoff. And they did it. Can they do it again? Yes, they were 1-1 when that happened, and they end up being 11-1, and this time they would have to be 10-2. But it is possible. Here are some of the good things about this loss some people haven't necessarily talked about or mentioned. One of the things that the committee will look at are quote unquote good losses. These first 2 losses that Notre Dame have suffered to number 5 ranked Miami and number 18th ranked Texas A&M, both of which will probably be within the top 15 when the AP poll comes out, maybe top 16 here in a few hours. Both those teams are top 20 teams in the country. Both would be considered good losses, and they lost both of them by a total of only 4 points. Notre Dame is one of the best football teams in the country, especially offensively. Defensively is a different story, and they've got to definitely fix that in these last 10 games. Now, if they go on a 10-game winning streak, it is true they're going to need some help. They're going to need some teams like Alabama. They're going to need some teams like Tennessee. They're going to need some teams like South Carolina to lose 3 or more games. They're going to need a team like Indiana to lose 3 or more games. Maybe an Illinois, a Missouri. These are the teams that they're going to need to kind of be cannibalized within their own conferences while they start to stack up wins week after week after week after week. They're not going to drop out of the top 25. I'll be surprised if they do. Not when you lose by 3 points to the number 5th team in the country and only by 1 point to the number 18th team in the country should you drop out of the top 25. That shouldn't be something that happens here. And if AP voters, and there are some dumb ones looking at you, lady, who voted for Florida to go up 2 positions after losing to South Florida, there are some dumb ones. But if AP voters indeed are paying attention and are actually watching the games, they will see that Notre Dame is actually a very good football team and deserves to continue to be ranked. That'll be important. They don't want to fall out of the top 25. And they need to start to slowly build and climb their way back into the top 15, top 12 and hopefully by the end of the year get inside the top 10. That is their goal. That's what they're going to have to do. They're also going to need some of their future opponents to continue to win, rebound after some bad losses, and maybe get themselves into the top 25 as well. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. SEC teams do it all the time. They're like, hey, 7-2 Auburn is now ranked number 24 right before they play whoever, right? Uh, 9-2 Auburn is now ranked 22nd right before they play Alabama, so it gives them another top 25 win. We see it all the time. Notre Dame's going to need some of that magic to happen for them here as well. But looking at the schedule here, they've got Purdue next at home. Purdue right now is a 2-1 football team that just got beat pretty soundly by USC, but they're not bad. They have a good offense, and this will present an interesting thing for this Notre Dame defense because Notre Dame defensively has played bad in their first two games, especially last week. They really need to improve, and they're going to need to win a game pretty soundly. Purdue seems to be the team that would be the prescription that the doctor would order, per se. Then they get a gamed Arkansas on the road. This is an Arkansas team who had Ole Miss on the ropes. Hotty Toddy escapes. Arkansas gets the loss. Arkansas is good for usually a one game a year where they beat somebody that no one's expecting them to beat. Notre Dame could be that team, but Notre Dame cannot allow that to happen. If they go down to Arkansas, Fayetteville, and they lose to the Hogs, season over. Then they come back home to take on Boise State. Now, yes, I understand this is a Boise State team that is not going to make the college football playoff. This is a Boise State team that lost to USF in week number 1 on a Thursday night down in Tampa, Florida. This is not the Boise State team that went to the college football playoff last year. But this is still a Boise State team with some clout. So, another big win. NC State comes rolling into town on October 11th. NC State is currently undefeated, and they should be somewhere around 5-1, maybe 6-6, and knocking on the door of the top 25 when they come into South Bend on October 11th. That could be a nice win for them. And then they host USC on October 18th. They need the Trojans to get into the top 24, top 25. USC is currently 3-0. This is a team that got some big games coming up as well. But this is a USC team who's trying to get to 10-2 and trying to make some noise in year number 4 or 5 of Lincoln Riley here. That they're going to that the Trojan faithful feel like, hey, it's ride or die this year. If USC comes into this town with only one loss or undefeated, this could be a massive matchup for Notre Dame and another opportunity to make a big statement on a national scale. And that one's also going to be a night game too. So big opportunity there for Notre Dame. Then they go to Boston College. They host Navy. They go to Pittsburgh. Those are 3 games they should win. I don't care where they're at. They should win those football games. They host Syracuse. Syracuse has shown a little bit of improvement in life this year, but it's still Syracuse. They should win that game. And then they go to Stanford to finish the season. And Stanford's an awful, awful football team. So you're not going to get any help by beating Syracuse, Pitt, Navy, Stanford, and Boston College. That's not going to give you any pizzazz to your overall record. But Arkansas, Boise State, NC State, and the big one in USC, as long as USC keeps winning, could definitely help the chances of Notre Dame getting back in the front of the voters' eyes. They need big games, and they need big wins. They need to start stacking those wins on top of each other, and they need to do exactly what they did last year, and they're going to need some of these other teams to slip and fall that are in front of them so that they can start to climb over them and get back into the conversation so that if they finish 10-2 and maybe Miami wins the ACC and Texas A&M is competing for the college football playoff as well and has a chance to possibly play in the SEC championship game, it doesn't look so bad. They're going to need that. What would be bad for them is if it comes down to Notre Dame and A&M. Let's hypothetically say Notre Dame is 10-2 and A&M is 10-2 or 9-3. And they're going to look at that head-to-head matchup and they're probably going to give the nod to A&M, which isn't good for Notre Dame. So, they need to root for A&M to be one of those top 3 teams in the SEC going into the final weeks of the season. That will be critical for Notre Dame. So, Notre Dame fans, it's not over. It's not done. You still have life. You still have opportunity. You need to root for A&M to have a heck of a season this year. And you need to root for some of these other teams that you're going to be playing to keep winning so that those wins become big wins for you as well. And you can't lose another one. You can't do that. All 3 of those things happen for you, you've got a shot and you've got a very good chance of still getting into the college football playoff because, as we have learned, good losses don't necessarily hurt you as much. But maybe you should consider joining a conference so that these things don't hurt you as bad as they're hurting you right now. Something to think about. Let me know what you think about what I think down in the comment section below. Again, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video. Let me know what you all think. Till next time.